Hello and welcome. Now, there are some disadvantages to not being close to the parks. That's where a lot of the events do happen. A lot of things always are going on, and there's always something to do. But I love being in the Northeast. I love being so close to New York, and I'm really happy when there are special events that happen, because New York has a ton of stuff as well, of course. So, when I found out that the Muppets were coming to Broadway, I was ecstatic. If you know me, you know I'm a really big Muppets fan. It's a lot more casual compared to other Muppets fans, but I always appreciated their humor and their wit and the fun that they have brought to us all over the years. And it's a huge anniversary for them this year. It's 70 years that they've been a thing. It's been an entity. And I am still very, very sad that we have lost Muppet Vision 3D. Fingers crossed that it still is moved and it comes back. It's not gone forever. But I ended up getting this little pendant at Comic-Con for it to remember Muppet Vision 3D. So any Muppet show, I'm very happy to see and I love. So I was very happy to know that the Muppets came on Broadway, even though it's not exactly their own show.
Now, as an editor's note, I filmed this while the show just opened. I had hoped to get this uploaded a week after I saw it in early November, but this month got a bit busy as I also traveled down to Disney World and ended up finding out about the news there. And also ended up taking some time to mourn the Muppets in Hollywood studios.
Pizza Rizzo's still there, but everything is changing. I just hope they move the Muppet Vision to the Showcase Theater. You guys need a new home. The Muppets need a new home.
So, although the show just opened, it literally closed 3 weeks later from its first preview. So, while I talk about everything in present tense in this video, since it was supposed to still be open at this point, it became another major flop on Broadway, joining the many other flops on Broadway this year.
The Muppets were able to make their Broadway debut in the most random, weird show possible. Rob Lake Magic, with special guests, the Muppets. So as you can imagine, I would say 95% of people that went to the show, including me, don't know who Rob Lake is. I did not know who he was. I've never heard of him before. He's a magician. He's an illusionist. But we were here for Carmen and Miss Piggy.
From a quick wiki search, Rob Lake is a magician/illusionist who got one of his bigger breaks on America's Got Talent. He ended up being a quarterfinalist on season 13 in 2018, but before that, he was on various different smaller shows and has traveled all over the world performing his tricks since 2005. He even performed on the Disney Cruise Line, so that's a surprise that there's a bigger Disney connection than anyone would have thought. On his official website, there's a paragraph in his bio that states, in addition to creating and designing his own illusions, Rob is the most sought-after architect of illusion, serving as magic and illusion consultant, illusion designer, and creative consultant for multiple Broadway productions. Disney's Aladdin, the touring hit Broadway musical, new musical Death Becomes Her, Harry Potter, Philharmonic Global Arena Tours, Sesame Street Live, and Walt Disney Imagineering. So it turns out he is tied to Disney a lot more than anyone knew. I don't know why they didn't promote that more.
If you were to tell me I was going to go see a magic show with the Muppets and Rob Lake, I would not have any idea what you were talking about. Magic and Muppets are not uncommon, though.
Honestly, that could be an entire deep dive retrospective on how magic has been linked to the Muppets in their 70 years of existence. Between the multiple seasons of the original variety show, and the countless other appearances as well as the many sketches of them doing magic specifically, it's not weird at all to associate them with the show. Again, it was just weird how they became special guests instead of them being the main talent showcasing the different illusions. This also isn't the first time Disney and magic have been associated with each other. It is a really niche topic to cover, but a very interesting one, because one example is Hollywood Studios, aka MGM Studios at the time, also featured a little bit of a magic show with the Goosebumps show back in the 90s. But then again, we'll keep that rabbit in the hat for now because this could be a whole other discussion for another day.
Rob Lake Magic, with special guests the Muppets, is a limited run. It's only on Broadway for, I believe, 12 weeks.
Again, that time was cut by 9 weeks.
I was able to get tickets for the preview. I didn't realize it was a preview, but I waited for the promo that they had tickets on sale, that there was orchestra tickets for $79, which is fantastic for orchestra because for the most part, for a Broadway show anymore, you're paying at least $200. So being able to be an orchestra and being able to see what this was going to be about, because like I said, I just want to support the Muppets. Before we get any further, you can imagine that even though this is Rob Blake Magic with special guests, the Muppets aren't really in the show. And that's something that people kind of got word of in the beginning as soon as it started. We weren't really sure what it was going to be like. And if you're going to go see this and you're a big Muppets fan, I feel like a lot of people are going to be disappointed because of the lack of Muppets in the Muppets part of the special guest.
And once again, the show fell into the same destiny as Muppet Vision 3D. But I've said this several times by this point. Just a gentle reminder when anything is mentioned in present tense.
But it is still a really cute novelty show, I'll say. There were a lot of questions that people were asking. Are the Muppets going to be there in person? Is it going to be on a screen? What's going on? How are they in this show? And are they doing magic? They aren't doing magic per se, but they are used within the magic tricks. And they are there in person. That was really cool to see. I really appreciated being able to see the Muppets in live in front of my own eyes. This makes me want to see the Muppets fully on Broadway even more. Like, I stand and I support a full-on Muppets Broadway show. I think it would be phenomenal. It would bring a lot of revenue, I hope, and it's just needed.
This was shown at the Broadhurst Theater, a theater that dates back to 1917. It is very historical and has showcased many legendary Broadway shows. As you can see, our seats were pretty direct towards the stage, even though it was a bit further in the back. I believe our show filled up mostly, but didn't sell out. But once again, we went to an early preview before it officially opened to give him some more credit. From a merchandise standpoint for purchase in the theater, there wasn't a lot to pick from, and it was more focused on Rob Blake-centric products, including a magic wand, coloring book, and magic kit.
Now, I've always been a really big Disney fan, of course, but I've been a theater kid even longer. If I can remember, I've loved theater my entire life. I'm really grateful. I'm so close to New York, and I've seen almost 20 Broadway shows. So I do know my privilege of where I'm at. And so I love collecting my playbills. I have so many playbills and I treasure them. But my favorite thing is that the Muppets are in the playbill. Like, this is the best thing ever. And you can see that it is Kermit, Miss Piggy, Gonzo, Fozzie, Animal, and Ralph. Even though I don't remember really seeing Ralph. He was in it for like 2 seconds. So it was Animal. It was basically, these two were the last. Fozzie was in a little bit more. Gonzo was a little bit more. And then Kermit and Miss Piggy were in the most. And that's kind of the hierarchy that you understand. But this is where it would have been great if they had more exposure on more obscure Muppets or just had equal time for everyone. Because I do believe that they were in the show maybe 10 to 15%. They were sporadically in the show, so it wasn't just like the Muppets came on and then you never saw them again. They were really good transitional pieces. But, you know, we want more. Rob Blake as a magician, as an illusionist, is very interesting. It was a really fun novelty show. And it was a very unique show that I've seen. I can't compare it to any other Broadway show because it's a straight up variety magic show. You're not seeing 2 acts. It's 1 act. There's no intermission. It's like 90 minutes. There's no fictional story. He talks to the audience and interacts with the audience for a majority of the time, which is actually really cool. That's a very big pro. And that is definitely what made me love my experience going to the show. There were numerous times that you were able to interact with him. He chose the people he was picking, of course. Everyone in the orchestra section was able to have a chance of potentially being a part of a magic trick that he did, or just observing. I think that there was maybe 5 or 6 sections that also included people to have audience participation in. I'm not sure, but I will say that I got to be one of them. So that really made it. And of course, that definitely put a lot of biases of me enjoying the show.
The way the show was set up was more of a traditional variety show. Rob Blake came out from the beginning to address the crowd and talk to us about his background and how the Muppets were very influential to his life and career. He ended up doing a lot of the standard, well-known magic tricks, like sawing a woman in half or having a woman levitate in the air, but also incorporated a lot of history into his illusions too. He talked about the various different magicians and illusions of the past while performing those said tricks. I know this is where my review would lean towards being more biased because going towards the obscure and forgotten material is what I do. So seeing him focus on tricks and illusions that were some of the first ones created for the magic world was exciting for me. It was cool that there was more focus on the lesser-known magicians compared to the one everyone knows, for example, Harry Houdini.
I was blown away by all the tricks. I had no idea how he did it. However, from reviews I've seen and videos I've seen, people are talking about that depending on where you were sitting in the section, you could see what was going on. Where I was in orchestra, I could not see what was going on behind the scenes. I would have loved to. Like, there's some tricks that I'm just like, I don't know how you did that, and I want to know. I love that technical behind the scenes understanding of it. It wouldn't have taken it away from me, but I literally stepped away from that theater not knowing what was going on. I was able to be a part of the show for a few minutes. The way I was chosen was by Frisbee. He ended up throwing like 6 or 8 Frisbees throughout the audience and orchestra, and the kid in front of me ended up catching it. I was almost catching it, but the kid in front caught it. Because they asked for adults to come on stage, the kid was just holding the Frisbee the entire time, and his parent, I believe, or whoever the guardian was, wasn't barging, wasn't moving at all. So I'm just like, hey, if you're not going to go up, I will definitely go up. Like, I'll do it for you. So they handed me the Frisbee, and I was able to run on stage, which was really cool because I can say that I was on a Broadway stage, which is phenomenal. So great year so far. I was able to be in a documentary for a couple seconds for a Goofy movie, and I was able to be a part of Rob Lake Magic with special guest the Muppets for a couple seconds. Let me milk this. I need this. Let me be able to brag. It was really cool though. I was just there to observe as well as like 7 other people, but it was really, really awesome to be on a Broadway stage. And because I'm a really, really huge theater kid, and a lot of my favorite actors are specifically theater actors, I always see them say, we can see everything. We can see all the people, especially when people are trying to record bootlegs with their phone. They always say, we can see what you're doing. And yes, you can. You can see exactly what's going on. You can see everyone within the theater, the way the lights are set up, which was really fun. But it was so intimate in a way. And it was just cool to be on stage. I loved it so much. I didn't really have any impact to the trick. We were just there to stand there, check out the equipment, knock on it to make sure it was like steel, which it was. And then he appeared in front of us in like one of those box curtain things that you pull up around yourselves. And he appeared. And that was my involvement on stage.
After finding these clips as a reference, these are the same tricks we ended up seeing for the Broadway show. It turns out he's done several specials available online, so what you're seeing here is literally what we got to see in the theater. Sets, music, and same direction included.
I appreciate that it's a thing, but it definitely wouldn't have a long-term sustainable value.
And yes, that comment was predicting the end. I at least thought it would have made its limited run, but no.
I think if you're able to see it once, that's enough. It's fun. It's cute. It's really great for kids, but it didn't really impress me long term. I was more excited to be on the Broadway stage than the entire show. But I think I'm also so privileged and biased that we have so many cool illusionist and magic shows around the area. Even at Six Flags, I gotta say, like, Six Flags has some amazing shows. At least they did. They took some away. But when I go for Fright Fest and there's one that's been long running called Unleashed.
That show and others that have been featured at Six Flags over the years have relied highly on a lot of acrobats and circus style acts, but they also have used a lot of magic too. And that's just a standard theme park show that's included with admission. I believe that the true difference here, because as great as those shows were, it's not extra to pay for compared to them trying to charge at least $200 for each performance. And like I mentioned, they had a lot more promotions running where the tickets were even cheaper due to them not selling.
And I also know that majority of the people are not going to be able to see this show. I still want to be able to talk about it, especially because of the involvement of the Muppets. I really want to stand and support the Muppets. And I know as many people, agree with the statement that Disney needs to use the Muppets more. And it's really, really random that they were used to be a part of this magic show. Like, I still am going to be baffled by that. The one con that was really weird with the show as well was the use of music. It was like your standard Vegas show where it was a lot of the top 40 hits. He was playing Fall Out Boy and Lady Gaga in the background. Bands that you wouldn't really associate with Disney right away, even though Fall Out Boy did Big Hero 6, but you wouldn't think of Disney and Fall Out Boy together compared to like Jonas Brothers. Jonas Brothers are still very heavily involved with Disney, and they did play Jonas Brothers as well. They played Love Me to Heaven while he was doing a magic trick. So it was like really random and really weird, but fun. But the music was very Vegas. It didn't really make me feel immersive. I really enjoyed the sets. I loved the way he built the show. And like I said, talk about the history, magic, and then do a trick. Highlighted a lot of other magicians and illusionists that anyone that's not into magic would know. There was a lot of names that I've never heard of before, so I did appreciate that factor of it. And of course, it was so fun to see the Muppets. That's literally the entire reason I went. That's literally the entire reason that most people are going. But it'd be interesting to see what happens in the future for both Rob Blake and the Muppets. I probably won't be paying attention to Rob Blake in his career, but I will be paying attention to the Muppets for sure. I ended up going to see the show in really early previews. It has now officially opened on Broadway
And now closed.
but they have made a couple of changes here and there. And the one thing that I miss seeing that they did add in, which I'm happy they added in, was with the final bows. It felt really rushed when they had the bows. Like, that was it. That was our bows. But now I see videos where they added the Muppets, so they brought them out on stage, that Miss Piggy and Kermit are on a motorcycle, which is really cool because the Muppets need to be appreciated in every factor. So that's something that did change between the week that I saw it and now, but I guess everything else is the same. I understand how niche this is for the Disney crowd because it's not happening in Orlando, it's happening in New York. I am curious to see if there will be more things like that, if the Muppets will be licensed out to other people or other projects, and what will continue to be their involvement in the future.
With how bad this flopped, that seems much more unlikely now.
And of course, we're still getting more Muppets in the park. We're waiting for Rock and Roller Coaster to change over to the Muppets. I'm still hoping that they will move them into the theater that the villain show is in right now. But again, we have to wait. Time will tell. But this was probably the most randomest show I'll ever see on Broadway. It was fun. It was novelty. I'm really grateful I got to check it out. But until then, there was my little Broadway review. I'm excited I got to do a Broadway Disney review for a change compared to all of the Disney movie reviews, although I love my Disney movie reviews. But there you go. As always, I hope you have a magical day, and I will see you real soon.